All right, let's get down to business. This series is going to be called the 12 Days of Christmas series. I'm going to have like 12 of my favorite Christmas movies. And I'm going to start with my exact all-time favorite. They're like not in really any order. They're just the order that I feel like talking about them. And this one is Bad Santa. Now, for those who don't know about Bad Santa, it is like the best Christmas movie that you could ever watch as an adult. This is not a movie for kids. Even though there's kids in it, okay, depending on which one you watch, the vulgarity changes. I originally watched the one that's saved for TV. And then recently I've watched the director's cut, which is not even as bad as the unrated version. I would think that the director's cut would be worse, but it's actually less vulgar than the unrated. So, let's, like I said, get into it. Let me start with the synopsis of this thing. Before I start with the synopsis, I gotta talk about dude who's in it. Billy Bob Thornton. First of all, your name's Billy Bob. Like, Billy Bob, like, that's what somebody's, like, fake name, like, fake imaginary friend's name is. Like, Billy Bob and Thornton. And he was actually married to, for a while, Angelina Jolie, which, because of her very prominent features like a black woman, a lot of people think she's attractive. And it's insane. One of the most attractive women on earth, supposedly, according to people. She straight up marries one of the gross, most gringy, grindy, muggy, fuggy person that ever crawled out of a manhole in sludge. Billy Bob Thornton. Like, I don't know him personally. He just, in this movie, you'll hate him. He's meant to be hated. At the end, he kind of gets a decent, like, a thing, but it all gets destroyed in 2. I'll probably talk about 2 because it's still good as a comedy. It's not good as a second movie to Bad Santa. I feel like Bad Santa had a good arc for this man, for him to actually change. But you can't get a movie like you got for the first one and have him change. You have to keep him the same. You have to keep people the same when you make a 2. By that I mean Hollywood has to keep them the same. Because if they were actually good at making stories, they could have him be in another situation to which he could start from where one left off. You know? But I digress. Let's get into it. So Bad Santa starts out with this dude who's disgusting and a drunk and all that. And his buddy calls him up and is like, hey, we got to do a job. Basically, I'm cutting a lot through some things, but this is just like a quick bit. He straight up is disgusting, but he's a good, safe cracker. Ironic twist. But he's a safe cracker. And the little person, he's a black guy. He plays an elf. Like, for their hustle, what they do is they go into malls. He plays Santa for some reason. He's very skinny and he gets to play Santa. Like, it's just like one of those things. Like, it doesn't matter if Santa's black, white, Asian. It really, really doesn't. Really. It represents a person. Like, why is some white guy going to bring presents to an Asian child? Why can't they have a black or Asian Santa Claus? You know? But whatever. White people get to be whatever and have whatever. Let me get back to it. So, Billy Bob Thornton's character plays Santa Claus as their cover. So they get access to the mall. They steal from the safe in the mall. That guy, the little person guy I told you, he goes through the vents sometimes. He does whatever he needs to make sure that he stops the security system from being activated. He cracks the safe and they get the money and then they're out and they go to the next town or whatever they're going to. Now, they picked the wrong mall. So all this, and also Octavia Spencer's in this movie playing a prostitute. Black person got to play a prostitute. And then Lorelai Gilmore, or whatever her name is, from Gilmore Girls, she's in this too. She plays a minor side character that has fetish for Santa Clauses. It's a run-on joke that this guy, even though he's ugly and disgusting, let me go on this little sidebar here. Almost every Adam Sandler movie, maybe 99% of his movies are him being ugly and disgusting, learning nothing, and still getting the girl in the end. And that's that's a make-believe dream. And I would consider that to be Mary Sue worthy. But no one likes to talk about the male Mary Sues or Mary Stu, if you want to call it like that, or whatever, call it like that. But for real, honestly, no one ever talks about how most of the men who are in these movies, they get to be that. It's interesting how science fiction and fiction can go with a guy and, oh, well, it's just a TV show, it's just a movie, but then we're supposed to have realism when it comes to women. Like, oh, women aren't that strong. Oh, you can't be Captain America. Captain America can't be that good. You know, stuff that quarter of a man would say. But I like I said, I'm going to digress, bounce back. So Billy Bob Thornton is always having sex, despite how ugly and disgusting and putrid, like you want to vomit he is. Especially, like, not even looking at his looks. Take his looks, just be blind for 1 second. His smell is probably disgusting. He is just a disgusting person. And it's a joke also that the little person guy that is his friend always talks about, you're nothing. You're whack. You stink. You're never gonna be nothing. And it's the whole twist at the end makes perfect sense. It's so good. This is such a good movie. But so let's get back on track. They go to the next mall because they're like, okay, it's been a couple years. Let's go. We're gonna do it again, because they never get caught. So they go into this mall where John Ritter from Three's Company, Jack Tripper, may he rest in peace, because he was OG. He was an OG. And Bernie Mac up in here too. OG to the triple OG. And like, let me talk about this before I keep going. At the end, if you watch this movie on TV or whatever, it'll say in love and memory of John Ritter. However, Bernie Mac also died. John Ritter died closer to the release of this movie. So I understand that his name is there, but I think it's quite interesting that they can't take 2 seconds in a dark screen to say in love and memory of, Bernie Mac, who's also in it and died too. But whatever, I digress. It's another one of those Anglo-Saxon things that I notice, and everyone notices because it's supposed to be noted. Digress. So John Ritter is talking to the Santa, who's a big guy. He's a pretty hefty guy. He's not skinny, because I've never been to a mall where some ragamuffin, dirty, disgusting, putrid piece of garbage, goat-looking piece of crap is Santa Claus, like Billy Bob Thornton. But this dude's like, I can't take it anymore. I don't want to do this. And he's like, come on, let's do this. And he's like, nah, I'm done. I'm getting out of here. So he leaves. And then Billy Bob Thornton's like, let me just slide in. And he's not really doing much. He's kind of just there, while the little person guy that's with him is like, hey, we're gonna have this job. I'm the elf helper, and this is Santa Claus. And he's like, kind of like got trepidations about it. And then he's like, and he's like, okay, let's do it. And he's like, okay. So he becomes Santa, and John Ritter kind of notices that he's cursing and playing games and having intercourse in like plus size women's department. And I didn't know each department had a dressing room. I thought there was only one dressing room per store for each sex. But I guess there's a plus size women's changing room. So he tells Bernie Mac, who you with? That this dude that is Santa Claus that they hired is being very inappropriate. So I can't fire him because they pulled the race card and the little person card because he's black and a little person. And he was trying to fire him in the first place when he first heard him having intercourse in the changing room. He was like, it's not us, it's you. Basically, he's like, get out of here. And he's like, what are you talking about? And then he's like, oh, you're going to have a lawsuit on your hands, da, 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 da. And he's like, okay, let me just talk to another black person. So he talks to the security manager. Bernie Mac, he's eating an orange or something. Pretty strangely, he's eating an orange. The way he eats that orange is really strange. He like sucks it and then he eats it. And if I'm going to suck a tangerine or whatever that thing is, clementine, I'm gonna just put that back. I'm not gonna eat that stuff that's dry, but whatever. So Bernie Mac is basically told by John Ritter, hey, can you find something on this guy so that I may fire him, please? And he's like, so he go into his motel, and Billy Bob Thornton pulls up, and he's like, ooh, what's going on? Why is there this dude in my, on the side note, I don't know because I just watched it a little bit ago, but since depending on, like I said, which version you watch, things are in different orders. So I don't know when the little boy comes into play, but there's this little boy he calls Kid. Even though his name is Thurman Merman, you'll know his name in the second one because he'll keep saying it. He is called Kid, and he comes up, and one of those kids while he's working as Santa, and he is like gross looking, and he's got snot coming down his nose, and he just asks him what he wants for Christmas, and he's discussing. He's like, okay, da-da-da-da, and he leaves. And then, so let's get back to Bernie Mac, like going through his things in the motel. So he's in there, he's just like destroying it, he doesn't even care. And he asks Octavia Spencer, the prostitute, hey, who's in there? He's like, he's been asking questions about you and stuff, and he wants to know all about your business. And he's like, okay, I'm probably gonna have to lay low somewhere for a while. So this kid that he talked to, and he's friends with him, I guess now. Because he keeps stalking him, basically. The little kid keeps stalking him. He's like, I'm gonna sleep at your house for a while. And prior to this, I do believe prior to this, that, like, depending on which version you watch, he goes to his house. He goes to Thurman Merman's house. And his grandma, he asks if his grandma is spry so he can beat her up. Because he is in a big old huge mansion and he's got a lot of money. So he goes into his safe and takes the Social Security cards. He takes everything. It's like, what are you going to do with that? I guess you can sell it to someone who takes identities. But it's just like, just take the money. It's clean money. It's clean. But whatever. He takes everything out there safe and all that and jacked up. He's like, he takes his car and drives. He runs the plate. Like, Bernie Mac runs his plates and learns about Thurman Merman's father. And let's talk about Thurman Merman. That little boy, they ruin him in the second one, but the first one, his annoyance is reminiscent of a child. There's a few things that he says that are like, is he on the spectrum? But I really don't think he's on the spectrum at all. I think he's just a child, and they cheese it up because this is supposed to be a cheesy comedy. This is supposed to be a comedy. So this little boy's annoyance and like repetitiveness wasn't played as he had a disability. Now in 2, boy's like 18 and he's the same way, the exact same way, rather than growing up and actually knowing some things and actually having a personality. He's just the same boy as an adult. And I think it's cool that they use the same actor. So I'm glad that he came back to this role, because this show role dude, Thurman Merman, straight up. But so Thurman Merman basically told that guy that his mom was passed away. But he said it in a strange way that you just have to see it. Something about a talking walnut. And then his father is doing something in the mountains, which anytime someone tells you that if your parents aren't up in the sky, they're in prison. They're not, or they ran off. But usually it's in prison, just like on King of the Hill, where Luann was told, even though she was an adult, they should have told her where her father was. I don't care if she cries in my face, I would have told her. Just like I would have told Dale Gribble that, Nancy, you ain't got no Native American blood in you. That's John Redcorn's son. But I digress. Thurman Merman's father is in prison. So he goes, Bernie Mac, who got his license plate because dude stole Thurman Merman's father's car because he's living up in his house because he's got some dude running and looking for him. And he thinks it's because he's doing the heist stuff, so he's trying to be safe, which is not safe to steal it's not safe at all, but whatever. So he runs his plates and goes to the prison where Thurman Merman's father is being held, who, might I add, he seems like a rational, decent human being. He looks like maybe money laundering was his thing. Like, he could have been selling crack cocaine. If there's any hint at why he's in there, maybe there's a hint that I didn't really recognize. Maybe talk about it in the comments. But he is in there, and he's like, okay, so do you have any relatives that should be staying at your house? And he's like, nah. And he's like, okay, I got you. And he basically clocks that, like, he gets all the evidence, and while the little person guy and Billy Bob Thornton are doing their job as Santa's little helper and Santa, Bernie Mac be like, okay, dudes, like, I see y'all. And he takes him out to eat, and he's like, all right, I don't want to change your hustle. I don't want to become y'all's partner. I don't want to run the show. I just want a little taste. He basically tells them 50% of the profits, and I won't tell on you guys. And Billy Bob Thornton's not happy about this 50% nonsense. And the little person dude was like, okay, so you could take 30% because there's 3 of us. And Bernie Mac's like half. And he's like, okay, 35. And Bernie Mac's like, half. So he keeps saying half, and they're like, they start getting into a tussle, and it's like in an open place. They could have went to Thurman Merman's house and talked about this thing. But nope. I guess not. They had to go to Applebee's, I guess, or wherever they were. It looked like Applebee's. Applebee's is garbage, by the way. Chili's, Applebee's, stuff like Applebee's and Chili's. I swear the same place. It's the same place. They're both gross. Like, their steak tastes like it's $5. But anyway. So Bernie Mac, he says 50, and he's like, all right, 50. But the twist at the end, it's like, okay, so that's why he was so willing to take 50. Stuff happens and all that, and they're like, his wife, who's the Asian lady, ironically, all connected, everything's connected. I will never say everything's not connected. I do believe that black guy's, the little person black guy's wife in the movie is also Min/Connie's voice on King of the Hill. But I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not sure. So she goes into the mall and she scopes everything. She just writes down everything she wants, because that's what she does when they go and steal things. He takes the stuff that she wants as well. And while all this is going on, the little boy's getting beat up and by like these bullies. So Billy Bob Thornton beats up children. He beats up children because he finds this kid to be, even though he's annoying, super annoying, he sees himself in him because he didn't have a father. Well, he had a father, but he was just abusive. And we find out that he also had a mother who was abusive in too, because Kathy Bates, American Horror Story, a veteran, is in 2, which is another it's a cool movie. It's a cool movie. It's not a good movie. I would not call Bad Santa 2 a good movie, because Billy Bob Thornton actually learned something at the end of this one, and he reverts back into the way he was at the beginning of the first one, which is not a good sequel. That is a bad sequel in my opinion. But I digress. So let's just skip ahead into when Bernie Mac meets him on the road, that little person guy on the road, and his wife. So they basically say, oh, we need a jack, and they kill him. They run him over. Literally, they show him being run over. But not his body, but you see it. You get the picture. He totally dies. So you can tell where this is going. So Billy Bob Thornton, they start doing that whole cracking. Oh, and before I get into this, there's this thing that comes back around. With the whole kid, he asks him, because he still thinks he's Santa, he says that he got kicked out of the North Pole because he was caught with Santa's wife's sister. And he says this to a child. But, so, Thurman Merman asks him, he wants a purple elephant, stuffed elephant. And that's something that is in the mall. He was going to get it for him. And at first, he's just like, whatever, kid. He doesn't care, but he grows to care for that kid. And the kid actually says, well, I want a pink one. I don't want a purple one. And he also wants what's it called? A gorilla to beat up the bullies. And that's when he beats up the bullies. And that's when you see development in his character. It's horrible still. He could have still been a horrible guy, but there's no development. No development. But I digress. They're robbing the place blind. Bernie Mac's dead. Billy Bob Thornton does not know yet. He is trying to crack the safe and says, oh crap, I can't crack this safe because it's when he said he was in the clink or wherever I'm pretty sure he said he was in the clink when he learned that this particular safe that they're using is uncrackable. And the little person guy's like, oh my gosh, you need to get it together. We need to get this stuff. We need to get out of here before the police come. And so before let's talk about, well, I'll talk about that later. So let's talk about, he gets the stuffed animal after he cracks the safe, right? And then he turns around and plot twist, the little person guy and his wife stick him up and say, dude's dead. Bernie Mac's dead. And you're next because we're going to take the whole load and we're going to be done with this. And he's like, it's Christmas. And then the police are everywhere. They're like, freeze. And so Billy Bob Thornton leaves the scene with the pink elephant, the pink stuffed elephant for Thurman Merman. Gets to his house and gets shot 8 times in the back. And all the kids rush outside from the houses and watch as Santa Claus bleeds out in front of this house. It's a good movie. It's pretty good. So he gets arrested. He told Thurman Merman to give the police a note, which helps him stay out of prison. And I can't really remember what was on the note right now, but Thurman Merman actually does do it. It's like development. Like, that's a kid. He's not dumb. He's not mentally challenged. He's just a little boy, but he still can do things. I cannot stress to you guys how much Thurman Merman is stupid into Patrick Star. Dumb. Maybe like 3rd generation SpongeBob. If y'all know about 3rd generation, the 1st generation SpongeBob, he was a young adult. The 2nd one, he was kind of childish, and the 3rd one, he's just straight up child. He's supposed to be an adult with a job and everything. He's not supposed to be a teenager. He's supposed to be an adult with a job living alone. In a house, he's an adult. His parents look like his grandparents. I mean, his father looks like his grandparents. His mom looks pretty young. But his father looks way older than him. He's an adult. So why is he acting childish? I know it's a child show, but come on. You're going to have to come with something better than that. But like I said, so he has to, it keeps him out of the clink for a very long time. He's just gone for now. And he teaches Thurman Merman to defend himself against the bully. He gives him the stuffed animal, which has blood on it, which he's like, oh, well, the present you made me had blood on it. And before, a while ago, he made him something, and he like cut open his hand because he was using like a buzzsaw or something. He's a little kid with no parents. His grandma has like Alzheimer's, and she's like she just makes sandwiches. Like literally she just makes sandwiches. And that little quirk thing that his grandma had, I can't even talk about 2 right now because I'm gonna make a separate video on 2. But yeah. So basically, at the end, Thurman Merman kicks his bully in the testicles, and he's happy. And Lorelai Gilmore, or whatever her name is living with Thurman Merman until dude can get out prison. And that was Bad Santa, basically. I left out a few things that happen in the X-rated version or whatever, the unrated version, and a little bit of the stuff that happens, the meat, little pickles in between, but you can watch it yourself. I'm recommending this Christmas holiday film. It usually comes on a while. Next videos I will be discussing are, but not limited to, Bad Santa 2, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the actual good one with Jim Carrey. A lot of people hate this one for some reason. I really have no idea. The acting's good. The makeup's good. The directing is brilliant. I really have no idea why people hate this. It's such a good, just by definition of a good movie, that's what How the Grinch Stole Christmas is. But whatever. Polar Express and a few others. I don't want to spoil it, but that's like, this is the end of the 12 Days of Christmas, number 1, the first day of this thing I'm doing. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. I am in the process of moving, so I may not be posting it very frequently, but I'm doing my best here. I also stream on Twitch, links below. Twitter's below, Instagram's below. Don't forget to like, share. You know what I'm saying? Please look at Bad Santa and watch it with your family. Like I said, it is not for children. I would never, I don't know when I watched this movie, but I know that I was old enough to watch it. And yeah, that's it. Done. I'm done. Done.